Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, Two Blokes Chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I've breathed the mountain air, man. I've travelled, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. Been to Tullamore, Seymour, Lismore, Mildura, Nambour, Rochester, Kilmore, Marilla, Birdsville, Emmaville, Wallaville, Connemara, Connemara, Strathrown, Proserpine, Alladala, Darwin, Gingin, Lilliquin, Muckilla, Wallamilla, Bougainville, Cumberland, Ramakilla. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man.
It's time for regional roundup, and sadly, our expected guests are unavailable at the last moment, but happily we have been able to find one of our favourites in regional Victoria, up in Mildura. Good morning to you, Katrina Umback. Oh, hang on. I'll try that again. Good morning to you, Katrina Umback.
Good morning, Neil. Good morning, Rob. How are we?
Good morning, Katrina.
Excellent.
I need to make a public declaration that although I think I'm on pretty good terms with the people in Keith, clearly I'm not.
He's rung 15 people and none of them were not talking to you.
Not talking to you, no. So I'm a friendless fool sitting here. So thank goodness that you have been able to come on and regionally round up again from the hub of the earth at Mildura.
It's a nice distraction from the washing this morning.
So Mildura has obviously got one thing going against it in terms of its geographic location. That is to say, it's a long, long way from anywhere. How have you been dealing with things like the need to get rapid antigen tests, for example, or things like fresh meat and all those other things that seem to have been going missing in the various shops?
Well, we just have to put up with it, really. That's what we had to do. I know I was in a situation where I couldn't get my hand on one of those rapid antigen tests at the beginning or middle of January, but that has since changed and we've got supply coming through again. Thankfully, the government were able to change some regulations around isolation so that we could get our supplies in and we can keep people in the shops working, and so that's changed. I feel like we're back on a bit of an even keel. Although I did run out of masks last week in the anticipation to go back to school. I think every parent was in buying extra masks for their kids to have at school with them.
And we spoke with Fiona from Fiona. I'm right there, aren't I? From Broken Hill. I'm looking across. Yes, thank you.
Did.
And you've got some relatives in that part of the world. Is it likewise starting to free up in places like Broken Hill?
I believe so. I haven't really had a chat with the folks back in Broken Hill about it, but I would feel that they're in the same position as us now. I think the government obviously realised what they were putting in place wasn't going to work and miraculously made something happen, made something change. But it's what happens out in the bush.
Well, Rob, of course, is not a big fan of the big supermarket chain. So I'm going to say, if I was to walk into Fisher's on Deakin Avenue, would all the shelves be full?
Well, Fisher's was that's where I found a lot of my stuff when there was a bit of a shortage. And I think if you could turn to local, and I started using the local butchers to get mincemeat and sausages because the big chains were out. But so I've kind of made me switch up my shopping behaviour here too. So that's a good thing. I think we probably all forgot a bit about local and small business, and then when everyone, that's the thing though in Mildura, when everyone cottons on, that then slows down and that they run out of supplies. But yeah, Fisher's did a good job of keeping their supplies.
Let's chat about school, Katrina, because there's been a lot of media attention on the go back to school. A lot of parents being whipped into a frenzy that there's kids aren't vaccinated. They don't want to put them in that situation. Certainly the teachers and teaching unions concerned about the welfare of their members. But it all started, it seems to have carried on without too much trauma and drama. How's it been up there?
Yeah, I've heard mixed reports. Myself and my boys, we've dodged it so far, but I'm sure that's coming. I have heard that it is starting to have a big effect with, some schools are being impacted. There's a lot of kids that didn't even actually get to start school because they were either a close contact or had tested positive to COVID. I feel like it's going to get worse before it gets better.
I think the other thing that people forget, and people obviously realise we're pretty hot to trot in terms of regional Australia and the things that happen in regional Australia. In a place like Mildura, let's say 10% of the teachers at the boys' school get COVID. That's bad, but you can still manage to run the school. There's a couple of stories during the week where there was a school, I think of 30 kids somewhere in regional Victoria, where they have 2 teachers, and both teachers have got COVID.
Yeah.
So what do? You've got to close the school. I mean, it's not an option, because it's not so much the transmission, because we're all dealing with the transmission. Everyone's got, the vaccination and everything. But when 2 people are crook and they can't actually get out of bed, it's a totally different story, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I had a conversation. I bumped into one of the teachers at the supermarket during the week, and it was just putting feelers out in anticipation for the year. And it was put to me that there'll come a time where they'll have to start triaging which year levels get the teachers, because there won't be enough teachers to teach all of the subjects if this goes any further or becomes even more of a problem, because teachers have families and children. Some have, challenges with their own health that prevents them from going to work because of the threat of COVID to their health. So, yeah, it's a real tricky one, and I don't have a solution, but I certainly gave that person my best wishes for the year and thanked them for the work they do, because I think it goes unnoticed. They get pulled from pillar to post during this pandemic of trying to get the kids to get the education, but also do what's right for health of the community as well.
Yeah, and I don't expect you to have the percentage of this, but I suspect there'd be a fair number of kids coming in on buses and so forth. It goes all the way to things like transport as well. Yeah,
but there's so many rules about how you have to do everything. My head is spinning, let alone if one of my boys did happen to get COVID, then reading all the rules and reg with that. It just impacts in every part of your life at the minute. For me, with work as well, we've got a risk management plan in place where we're not to all be in the office at the same time. There's a big knock-on effect. I think maybe the government could continually keep looking at it and make changes as they go, but they seem to be quite adamant about the process at the minute.
And just steering away from COVID in the last couple of minutes that we have, obviously your part of the world is renowned. I believe someone once told me that there's more sunny days there than there are on the Gold Coast. How's it been in terms of rain and stuff like that in Mildura? Is it okay, or is it pretty dry up there?
Well, I wasn't here for that week, but there was a massive freak storm, which I think then moved its way down to your neck of the woods.
Yes, we copped a bit of that.
Yeah, I think that was really good, in and around the town, but it did cause some damage to property and some produce. But other than that, the more sunny days than the Gold Coast thing it's very true. We haven't had much afterwards. Ticking along.
I don't think it's unfair to say that you live in an area where there is a bit of green around you. Is it green, or is it looking a bit dry?
No, it's very green. Yep, nice and lush. Even the old house that I've got at the minute, the lawn's very, very lush.
Excellent. Okay, and the other thing that we probably should check up on in terms of your part of the world is things like Easter. There's that, is it the speedboat thing that happens on the river? Sorry if it's got a probably more official name than that. Are those sorts of things looking to be running as they should be?
Yeah, at this stage, although the hospital here has been in our community for 130 years, and they had organised a big concert featuring Jessica Malboy.
Yep.
And they've had to postpone that due to the COVID situation in our community. That was happening in March. But most things are, I think as it gets closer to the event, they're making calls on them continuing. But yeah, the impression that I have at the minute is that at Easter, which is our big weekend of power sports, motorsports, on the river, will go ahead.
Excellent. Well, thank you for stepping up to the plate at the last minute. We have a couple of minutes left before we hand over to Rob. So thank you for being our regional roundup, particularly given the late notice with which we gave you.
My pleasure. Like I said, a nice break from the mum life of washing.
Thanks, Katrina.
Bye.